What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to another breakdown here on the VegasOdds YouTube channel. I'm your host, the fight analyst Garrett Kerman, and with me, as always, is my man Joe Danger himself, Jesse Hobson. What's up, man? How's it going?
Just hanging out with Mr. King Tut himself last night. So hopefully the money will keep flowing. You got that Astros love coming my way. Got that Houston, winning ways behind me. So we are going to be bringing that into this weekend.
Absolutely, just like we did last week. I know the trolls were out. They were talking a little bit, saying our analysis is pretty shitty. But guess what? 9-1 on predictions across two promotions. That's what we're here for. We're here to bring you money, even with our shitty analysis, supposedly.
Well, that's the thing. Like I try to take in what these people are saying, but like when you have usernames like Hot Dog Daddy 420 and like I spilled a drink 69, like it's like like I can't take these guys seriously. But keeping that in mind, a lot of these fights, and a lot of these fighters don't have that many fights under their belt. In these regional fights, there's only so many things that you can talk about and only so many things you can break down. We're running with the bare minimum here. There's only so much we can discuss, even between the two of us. So, you be positive, proactive. We love to hate, but at the same time, if there's something you see that we're not seeing, let us know in the comments.
Right.
Just saying we can't say the names correctly. I mean, that's a given. Like, especially with the Brazilian fighters. This week we have some English fighters, so it's a little bit easier. But
except for when we get to the French fighters.
yeah, that one's that one has like wiggly things all around his name. So
yeah,
I mean,
but man, guys, we're just trying to bring you the best knowledge we possibly can, so that we could give you the best educated guess for you guys to make some money. At the end of the day, you guys could hate our analysis. You think we could suck, but enjoy it while you can. We're making money for you guys, and that's the goal at the end of the day. And we're going to keep going tonight. I mean, not tonight. Well, Saturday night.
soon, yeah.
Actually, Saturday morning. It's actually 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on UFC Fight Pass. Cage Warriors 146 on tap. You got two title fights on tap there. You have the middleweight championship, and then you also have the welterweight championship. So let's get right down to it. We're going to break down this 5-fight card. Only 4 fights have lines, so let's get to it. All right. So our first fight, we're probably going to look at the first fight in the welterweight division between Martin Corset. I think Corset because it's French, so I'm going to go with Corset. Okay. Taking on Adam Cullen. Right now the line is exactly where I expected it to be, minus 900 to minus 1,000 on Adam Cullen to come back on Corset, plus 500 to plus 625. What do you got?
Yeah, so Adam Cullen, he's a fucking wizard. I honestly don't see many paths to victory or I don't see any paths of victory for Martin Cosse here. He was originally matched up with Marcus Mee, which when I dug a little bit into that, seemed like a little bit more of a easier matchup or a little bit more fair of a matchup. But with Kase, I'm predicting a bloodbath. Colin should have his way on the ground, and because of this, I'd assume he finds the submission pretty quickly. Round 1, maybe early round 2, if Kase can hang in there. I don't see it getting that far into the fight.
Yeah, this is a showcase fight pretty much. But like you said, he was going to face a stiffer competition. But Corset, he's coming in short notice, going against arguably one of his best opponents that he's faced in his career. He's faced some decent competition elsewhere, but ultimately he doesn't have what it takes to beat Cullen. Cullen like you say, he's a wizard on the mat. He's got the standing, he's got the striking abilities as well. This dude is a real deal. He's 5-0. He's an undefeated prospect. He has a plethora of amateur experience as well. It's going to be a really, really tough fight for Costa to overcome. And the line kind of shows it at minus 1,000. Yeah, this is one of many showcase fights on this fight card. So
Kosei was the one that was actually supposed to
oh
match up with Marcus Mee, and then I think Colin kind of got thrown into the mix. I mean, because for some reason that was canceled, and then they're just like, okay, well, these guys are in the same weight class, so one of them is getting a layup, and the other one is getting, not necessarily a walk in the park, shall we say?
yeah, and trying to take a short notice fight against someone with the experience of Cullen, who's I think a pretty decent prospect over in Cage Warriors, is no easy task. So I got Cullen pretty much steamrolling him. I got him inside the distance and under. I think it goes under 1.5 rounds, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Our next fight is in the flyweight division, which is arguably the most competitive.
Before we move on, okay, so I want to say that like everyone's in a dog us for picking the favorite. If any of you guys bet Kase and like or even want to bet Kase, just hit me up, hit my DMs up. I will take that bet. I don't care how much money it is. Just I will take your money. Just consider it a donation to the show because no one is betting Kase. No one is. Earlier that line was at -900. It's now at -1000. Like the money's coming in on the favorite for a reason. If you want to bet Kase, let me know, and I will gladly take your money.
I agree with that. I think it's gonna be a lopsided fight, and if you want to throw away money, I mean, go right ahead. But that's not the way to do it. At least we don't advise it. So,
okay,
moving on.
Sorry about that.
As we move on, this is arguably probably the most competitive fight on the fight card in the flyweight division between Aaron Abbey and Stipe Bricic, another Stipe. Right now, the line is set at Abbey -155 to come back on Bricic plus 135. Who do you got?
Yeah, interesting matchup here. Is this is just another battle of the mids. Both dudes have faced and lost to the same opponent. And when digging deep into Bricic record, he's kind of a fraud. His record is extremely padded, and he loses every time he takes a step up. Abbey is a bit higher on the mid scale, and excluding early on, he has beaten decent competition. He definitely had a padded record early in his career. So because of this, I think they both tough it out, and Abbey gets his hand raised after 15 minutes. I just think he's a little bit better, just a smidge, and just enough to get it done here. Aaron Abbey by decision.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either one of these guys are extremely high level. I think they are good regional fighters. I don't expect them to make it to the next level of the UFC or even Bellator for that matter. But with that said, I kind of side your way as well. I think Abbey is, I think, the better overall fighter. Granted, both of them lost to Sam Creasy, who is the current flyweight champion over at Cage Warriors. Bricic just fought him, I think, 1 or 2 fights ago, and he lost via standing guillotine in the first round. So
Abbey went to decision with him, which I think says a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Creasy is legit. He's a legit prospect. I think he's already UFC caliber. I think he probably gets a short notice fight or a contender series fight if he wins his next bout in dramatic fashion, no less. But in terms of these guys, I think Abbey is just like you said, just a smidge better, just a little bit better everywhere in terms of striking, his grappling. I think he'd be able to mix it up a bit better and get the unanimous decision victory. It's not something I'm going to go run to the bank and throw a lot of money on, but I'm pretty more confident in Abbey's game than I am Bricic at this point. All right, moving on. You could break this one down because we got no lines, but we have a fight in the light heavyweight division between Chuck Campbell and Andy Clamp. What do you got?
So right off the bat, Clamp kind of looks like they took Michael Chandler's head. I'll wait.
No, you're good. I'm getting over this cold, so I've had this nagging cough for like 2 weeks, so don't mind me.
Gotcha. It looks like they took Michael Chandler's head and then planted like the Brawny Man logo on it. Maybe it's the ears. I don't know exactly, but it's just odd to look at. It's like one of those things where it looks like an optical illusion, but you're like when they do like
Do you know who he also looks like?
who's that?
Dustin Stoltzfus.
He does. It's like when you see one of those computer generated images and your mind is telling you that there's something not quite right about it. That is the living embodiment of that. So Clamp's last fight was 4 months ago, but the fight prior to that was nearly 5 years ago. That's weird. Campbell, isn't a spring chicken either, but he does have some decent wins on his resume. Clamp beat a guy that was 0-10, and then another guy that was 15-46. Mind you, this was back in 2014, but that seems or screams like fraudulent to me. I'm going to have to side with Campbell here just because nothing really jumps out on his record as like weird, and he has fought on the bigger stage. Odds aren't live yet, and I'd expect him to be the dog. So I'm going to take a stab on Chuck Campbell just because I think he's going to be the dog. And I'm not really sold on Clamp. I watched a little bit of footage, and again, he's very odd to look at, so it was difficult to get through. But I do think Campbell he's worth a shot.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna touch base on this fight because there was no odds, so therefore I didn't break it down. I'm just gonna throw that out there right now for all you YouTube people out there saying that we don't break down fights. I'm not breaking down a fight I can't bet on, so I left that to you, and you did.
This literally just got added, so there will be a line probably sometime tomorrow.
We will hopefully. So let's keep it moving. We're up to our co-main event in the welterweight division for the welterweight championship for the Cage Warriors welterweight champ. Right now, it's interim, so neither guy is the champion right now. Right now, the line sit at Mateusz Figlak minus 260, comeback, and Jim Wallhead plus 220. Who do you got?
Yeah, Jim Wallhead is nearly 40 and has a tattoo around his nipple. And unless you're in the Chili Peppers, don't do this. I mean, he does look a little bit like Flea, but I just cannot respect this man. And while someone with a similar name has let me down in the UFC recently, I think Figlak is the safe bet here. Figlak's only loss comes by submission, and the only way Wallhead is getting on the ground is if he is fixing a car or something weird. When you turn 35, getting up isn't as easy as it was when you're 34. I can't imagine what it feels like when you're 38. So to me, all things considered, this guy looks like he belongs in the Chili Peppers. He has dated tattoos. His win-loss record is odd. I mean, he's pushing 39. Figlak is the lock. I like him by KO, and I like him as the new interim champ.
Agreed, 100%. This is one of the few showcase fights. I don't know why Wallhead is fighting for a welterweight championship. He won his last 3. Granted, not the best competition. Jim Wallhead, he's been around the block for a bit, 32-11. Good record, but I mean, you calling yourself judo, that's not a good thing. I mean, what kind of nickname is judo? You better have the best judo on the damn planet to call yourself judo. I know he's got some decent judo to get it to the mat, but you're going to get a guy that's like almost a decade younger than you. He's on the up and up. He's one of the rising stars in the Cage Warriors promotion. His bigger brother, Michael Figlak, is in the UFC. So he's getting in a ton of great rounds, with his older brother who's now fighting elite competition. I feel like this is his coming out party. This is him capturing the interim title. Then he's going to go and fight for the unified title after this and possibly put his name on the map and be another brother couple in the UFC. So I'm expecting a good showing from Figlak here. He's got the power. He's even got some grappling chops. I feel like he's gonna be able to defend takedowns from Jim Judo Wallhead at almost 39 years old. So give me Mateusz Figlak here, and I think you got a decent line. I mean, not decent. I mean, it's minus 260, but he's a decent parlayable piece with our next
Hold
fighter.
on. One more thing. We did not mention this, but do you know who Figlak's only loss comes from?
No.
Ian Gary.
But look at that. Just like James Sheehan in last week. The
Yep.
only loss was to Ian Gary, and somehow losing to Ian Gary is like this thing over in Cage Warriors, because these guys really progress when they lose to him. When they lose to someone as good as him, they gotten better. I mean, James Sheehan looked phenomenal last week. I know we're on the dog there, but he looked great, and he looks like a bright prospect. And I feel like we're going to see the same with Mateusz Figlak here.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting considering the last week, and then it's almost like Gary got them at the wrong, like he fought them at the perfect time. You know what I mean? Like
early in their career, they're still feeling it out and trying to get better. And look at Figlak now, and now he's fighting for the interim welterweight championship. So let's see what happens on Saturday. Up to our main event, we got a fight for the middleweight championship of the world. We have Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Marian Dimitrov, I think it is. Right now the line is a minus 490 for Duncan. The comeback on Dimitrov plus 390. Who do you got?
Yeah, it's really weird to see Dimitrov on the poster. It's also even weirder to have three first names. Ask Christian Leroy Duncan. While I'm told this dude is the real deal, I really think it's weird that Cage Warriors is calling up the unranked Marian Dimitrov from the couch to showcase that. While he does have a decent record, Dimitrov hasn't fought anybody in 3 years.
Yep.
So that's interesting. Duncan should get the KO early, but I mean, it would be weird if he didn't. So I mean, I'm going to take him round 1 KO. It's just weird that they're calling this guy like the next big thing, and then they're giving him a guy that's been eating chips. Like, I don't know, bro. Like,
yeah, it's very odd, especially for the middleweight championship. You don't just give him a guy that's coming off the couch, hasn't fought in over 3 years. Duncan does look like a decent prospect. I mean, he's got power in his hands. I think it was 17-3 as an amateur. He's got a plethora of experience. And this is as a showcase fight could possibly be. I mean, this is 3 showcase fights on this card, and this is as lopsided as a fight could possibly be. Duncan should go in there, make quick work of him, and get his title. Maybe we see him on the Contender Series. We don't know. I'm expecting if he gets an early knockout, we're seeing him on the Contender Series. But if he goes in there and has like a back and forth battle against a guy who he should wipe off the face of the planet, then maybe we might have to take a little step back there.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I mean, if you look at the poster, he's the guy you think is like legit, and then once you like look at it, it's like, man, this dude's been just twiddling his thumbs for a while. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's been doing more, but he hasn't.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's what we have for this week's breakdown. Cage Warriors 146 on tap Saturday, 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on UFC Fight Pass. That's what we got. We will be back next week. I'm pretty sure there's another Cage Warriors event. I think there's Bellator as well. We'll be breaking it all down for you guys. Head over to VegasOdds YouTube channel. Like this video. Comment whether you like it, whether you hate it, whether you think we suck. We don't care. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. And yeah, subscribe as well. We will see you all next
so that we
week.
can talk shit.
Yeah, man. We'll see you then.